Today in history, January 28th, 1917, was the day of the Bath Riots. Now, I had never heard of these, and when I heard Bath, I was thinking of Bath in England. But the Bath riots happened on the border, on the Texas-Mexico border in El Paso. Now, what was going on at the time was that there was a typhus outbreak happening in Mexico. And the workers that were coming across the border were being deloused. Um, and it's exactly what it sounds like. They were sprayed with chemicals made to undress. The women went to one side, the men went to another building. Their clothes were taken from them. Clothes were steamed and disinfected, and they were sprayed with chemicals, sometimes with kerosene. But it is as disgusting as it sounds. And also, there were men taking pictures of the naked women in as they were being deloused. Now, there was a woman, she was 17, and she had heard of the indignities that were happening at these delousing centers as they went to work. And she was going across to go clean houses. And quite frankly, she was not going to. She didn't want to do it. You know, trying, I can only imagine just trying to get to work and adding on top of that, knowing that once you get there, once you're almost there, you're going to be made to take your clothes off and enter a building, be sprayed with chemicals and treated like, an animal. And, and then there might be some people there that are taking great joy in watching your humiliation. So Carmelita did not want to do this, and she refused to get off the trolley that was taking them across the border. Now, when she did this, she just sat, and the other girls, because a lot of the women on this trolley, they were young, 16, 17, 18 years old, and they were, they didn't want to. They didn't want to. So they commandeered the trolley. They actually commandeered four trolleys and gathered them together, and it created this riot, this feeling of, we're sick and tired of this bullshit. And so the town of Juarez also joined in on the riots. Now, there were very few arrests during this riot, and no one was killed. Which I found quite surprising. But they had to, it just resumed. This was in 1917, and the spraying and delousing of the Mexican migrant workers that were coming across the border continued up until the 1950s. I also learned that those we had the gas chambers. Yeah, the American version of the gas chambers. Well, actually, the gas chambers we had, which is what we used to clean the Mexicans as they came across the border, the gas chambers we had and the showers that we had for the Mexican immigrants actually was a precursor to the gas chambers that the Nazi Germans had. They thought it was a great idea. Zyklon B, which is what they used in their Zyklon B, is a cyanide-based uh, pesticide that they would spray on people, and this is what ultimately the Nazis used in their gas chambers. But they got the idea by watching the Americans and applauded it. So this was, obviously, I think anything that 1930s, 1940s Nazi Germany applauded, I think should be definitely not done if they are applauding it. But the American gas chambers, they continued up until the 1950s. And this wasn't done with dignity. I'm sure they made it as humiliating as possible for these people that were just trying to get to work. It was not a time of human rights, basically. I mean, and looking at where we are right now in the United States, are we really? Have we done better? I don't. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Right now, no, no. Our treatment of immigrants from any country at this point is not by the people, by most people, but our government's treatment of immigrants is disgusting. And it is no less disgusting. Well, and quite frankly, the treatment of the American people in general by its own government is disgusting. Um, this is not a time to sit idly by and be like, well, that's not my problem. I'm not an immigrant. I shouldn't. They should have done better. Yeah, it is only a matter of time before it works its way up to you. History tells us it doesn't just stop at this level. They're like, well, yeah, now that we got rid of that problem, let's move on. You know what? We only want people that look a certain way, have their hair cut a certain way, speak a certain way. And that is why we fight down here so that it doesn't get up here. And if you are not worried, you should be worried. You should be worried. You should be mad as hell as to what is going on to citizens, even if it doesn't concern you, even if it doesn't, touch your family. Yeah, you should be concerned. This is not a time to sit on the sidelines and just think that, oh, it won't happen to me. It just hasn't happened to you yet.